So in this video, we're going to learn about our crop tool. Our crop tool we will use all the time when we are working in Photoshop with different images. And so we can actually use our same photo that we found online in our last video if you still have that open. If you don't, that's okay. Just take a second here and open up that same image, or you could open the parrot if you didn't find an image, that's okay too. Whichever one will be fine. So our crop tool actually appears on our tool panel, and it is the fifth one down. You can kind of see that they're broken into different sections. So if you hear me refer to sections on the tool panel, that's what I'm referring to. So in the first section, it's the fifth one down. And of course, a nice feature of Photoshop is that if you hover over any tool, it will tell you what that tool is. So you can see the crop tool. Go ahead and click on that because we do want our options bar to change up here. So I'm guessing that your first drop-down menu actually shows the words unconstrained. And all that means is that your crop tool right now is completely flexible. It's not constrained by dimensions. You could crop whichever way you wanted to. So if, for example, we wanted to just have the dog, what I could actually do is click out here with my crop tool, and I can click and drag and get it to be just the dog. So you can see what happens when I let go is that I get a kind of grayed out area, and then inside it shows 9 little squares, which is to help you if you want to use what's called the rule of thirds. It's a real fancy term for photography to try to center your picture so that it lines up within the rule of thirds. We don't spend too much time on that. We use it more to just get rid of backgrounds and things that we don't particularly enjoy about the photo. So as I was saying, I'm actually going to cancel this and just do it one more time to show you. When you have an unconstrained crop, what happens is when you click and drag, you can actually manipulate that even further, and you can see how nothing is constrained right now. You can make it skinny, you can make it fat, you can kind of really roll it all around if you want to, and it's all fine and dandy. So if you get it to a place where you like it, if you like the crop for whatever your picture is, then what you do is up on the top up here, you have I always say red and green, even though they're not really red and green. The red one kind of looks like what it would be if you had that circle with the line through it, like stop, don't do that. That's the cancel. That'll get rid of your crop entirely. If you like the way it looks, you click on the little green check mark, and that commits your crop, which means now you have gotten rid of your background, and all you have is the image that you wanted to keep. So that's how you crop. It's very simple, but I want to show you some other things that you can do with your crop tool. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use a kind of cool command. It's called the revert command. So what happens is if you go up to File and then down to Revert, it will actually bring you back to your very original image. You can do this at any time, but it is kind of nice to do when we're practicing here. It gives you many opportunities to work with your crop tool. So now let's talk about what these empty boxes mean. What this means is that you can actually set the size of your crop. So if you knew, for example, that you wanted your crop to be 4 inches high by 6 inches wide, you could set that, and then you can reposition your photo inside of that crop. So you can set the dimensions. The one thing I want to mention is you do have to put the IN for inches, because if you don't, it could assume that it's a different measurement like pixels or picas or whatever it is. So you do want to put the IN for inches. If you're happy with the way that it looks, again, you hit the green check mark, and then you will see that your ruler changes and now you're at 4 inches in width by 6 inches in height. Okay. I'm actually going to revert real quick and I want to show you one more thing about this. When you crop, notice that if you were to pull it down, you're going to see that you have this white area back here. You can crop like that, but the white will stay. And all that means is that your photo wasn't high enough in the crop preview. And so we would really never want to do that. We would always want to make sure that our crop shows that our picture covers our entire crop area, because otherwise that's going to look kind of silly. So we wouldn't necessarily want to do that. I'm going to get rid of this real quick because I want to show you one more thing. If you choose this drop-down menu, they do already have some presets in here. So the unconstrained, remember, is the one where you can just make it wherever you want it to go. It's not constrained by dimensions. You can move it all over, do whatever you need to with it. Then they have like 8.5 by 11 is the standard piece of paper that we use. You can do 4 by 3, 5 by 7 is a really popular size, etc., etc. You likely will not see these two. This is 300 ppi and senior pictures. These are actually crop presets that I saved, ones that I use all the time. So you can actually do that. So I'm going to show you how. If you go down to the bottom where it says size and resolution, this actually allows you to set not only the width and the height, but also the resolution. So at any point in time, if you were going to take an image off of the internet and it wasn't already at 300 ppi, you can quickly do it and change it here in the crop menu, which is why using the crop tool is something that we do all the time. So let's say we wanted to do a width of, let's say 3 inches and a height of 2 inches and put our resolution at 300. Now, because I'm not really ever going to use this crop preset again, I'm not going to save it as a crop preset. So don't click the check mark or you end up with like 50 different crop presets. You don't need that. So you can actually just click OK and your crop will come in. Now notice that when you try to manipulate this, it stays constrained. It's not going to get any bigger or smaller. You cannot kind of move it around in the same aspect. I'm trying to make it be skinnier right now, and it's not working because it's keeping it at that proportion of 3 inches in width to 2 inches in height. So once I find the way that I like it, I can click my green check mark. And what happens is when you blow it up to 300 ppi, it gets a lot bigger. So what we just need to do is double click our hand tool, and then now you can see that we are at 300 ppi. If you can't, that's okay. You can always check if it makes you feel better. Go up to your image and go down to image size, and you'll see it's 3 inches by 2 inches at 300, which is what we just set it at. So those are a couple of handy dandy features with your crop tool. You'll want to familiarize yourself with it. So if you want to practice a little bit more, feel free to do a file revert and then practice a little bit more with your crop tool because you will use that all of the time. Okay. When you're finished practicing, you can go ahead and close your online image because we're going to work with a different one in our next video.